Good morning, Red Team. I wanted to give you a lesson today on our introduction for our argument essay, and then I also wanted to just go over a couple of the documents that I've shared with you to make sure that they are clear. So a couple of things that you'll see, what I shared with you this morning is this calendar right here, so you can see you've got the whole week mapped out for you, what we're going to be doing each day. A couple of you seem to like the idea of having more of an idea of what we'll be doing for the whole week. So I thought that would be helpful. So you'll see that Monday and Tuesday we're working on the introduction and conclusion. You're actually going to be using the same notes for both. Just the first page of notes is intro, and then the second page of notes is conclusion. So that should be helpful. If you're a little bit ahead and you wanted to work on the conclusion today, that's fine. So a couple of you are. Wednesday is going to be an optional peer editing day. So if you choose not to peer edit, you can just use it for self-editing. But I think a lot of you value the edits that you get from your peers, and you appreciate the 5 points that you get for doing that. So that will be an option for you on Wednesday. Thursday will be a strictly editing day. So you'll work on, any feedback you've gotten from me, any feedback you've gotten from your parents or siblings, or the peer editing. Friday, we will go back to that first chapter Friday, have a page check and a journal entry. It will be your last journal for this particular marking period, because we'll move into the fourth marking period shortly, I believe. So I wanted to show you a couple of things. The first is, some of you heard me just mention feedback. Now, if you have not put your name on this document yet, then you don't have any feedback from me. So please make sure, if your counterclaim paragraph, your two-body paragraph are done, put your name on here so that you can get some feedback. You'll see that currently I am up to date almost, but it's Sunday morning, and by, I'd say, the evening, I should be up to date with everybody. If you add your name on here today, I should be able to get it to you by the time you have class tomorrow. So that's one of the things to look for. You'll see here you have a link to your argument intro notes. That's what we're going to look at today. So I already have that opened up over here, and we can kind of look at those together. You'll see that the introduction, there's really nothing new here. It's not any different from your mystery essay. You're going to have a hook, some necessary background information that transitions you right into the last part, which is your thesis. So this document goes into detail on those three different parts, then gives you some examples. So the hook is really important. It gets your reader interested in your topic. It hopefully makes them realize that your issue that you're writing about is important, is urgent, is something that is worth their attention. So you want to spend a little bit of time thinking about good hooks for that. You'll see I gave you some samples. You can open with an unusual detail or statistic. Just make sure it's not something that you used previously in your essay, but it is a good place to use a quote that just didn't fit into your essay anywhere, but you still thought it was important. I'm sure a lot of you have those. Could open with a strong statement. You could open with a quote, something that maybe isn't related directly to your topic, but if you were doing something about the issue of gun control and the Second Amendment, maybe a quote about freedom or constitutional rights might be something that was important to your essay that would hook your reader. You can open with an anecdote, which is a narrative, a story, either from your experience or from someone else's. This is one place where it does make sense to use like I, because you might be writing about yourself. You can open with an engaging question. Just be careful of the engaging questions. Sometimes they come out kind of like immature or not very engaging. So just be thoughtful of that one. Could also just be some type of exaggerated statement. I do write a note here. So keep in mind whatever your topic is. If you're writing about a very serious and sad topic, you probably don't want to start with a funny hook. You want it to mind the tone of your entire essay. The next piece of your intro is the background information. So the background information is where you give basically the information a reader would need to know that they might not already know, that has to do with whatever it is that you're arguing for or against. So if you're writing for someone that there should not be a military draft, you need to assume that they might not know what a military draft is. So you need a couple of sentences that explained what that was and what the history behind it was. If you're writing about, and I know some of you are, about the couple of issues with cheating in sports, you might need to give some background information because someone that doesn't follow those teams or follow that sport, they might not know a whole lot about it. So if you are writing about a more obscure topic, you might need a little bit more background information, and some of you might even need a whole paragraph devoted to background. And if you're writing about something that's pretty mainstream, you might only need a sentence or two. So that could vary greatly, and you've got to think about it. It's a good question to ask me, and it's a good question to ask the people around you because they might have a good idea of how much background you need. The last sentence is your thesis, and you already wrote that. So that's something that you should not have to spend a whole lot of time on. You might want to edit and revise it at this point because maybe it doesn't match the reasons that you ended up writing about. Maybe it doesn't match the counterclaim rebuttal that you ended up writing about. So in that case, you want to edit it. But if you still kept your two main reasons and your rebuttal counterclaim the same, you've already written your thesis and you can just copy and paste it in. What you want to leave out. So you don't want to put in any analysis in your intro. You don't want to put in a whole lot of facts. And you definitely don't want to say anything like, I'm going to prove to you that, or this essay is going to show you that, because that's just kind of a filler and you're going to show us all of that in your awesome writing. So in a nutshell, you've got the hook, the background, and the thesis. There are a couple of examples here. This one has to do with paying college athletes. This one has to do with beauty pageants. And then this one has to do with social media and smartphones. I would suggest reading at least a few of them. And there's a couple on another set of notes I'm going to show you, just to kind of get in the right mindset before you begin writing your own. So you'll see if you go back to that argument calendar, I also shared with you this one that's called Short and Sweet Argument Intro and Conclusion Notes. These are nice ones to have up next to you or printed out if you have a printer, something that just goes, basically fits practically on one page what you need to do. So you can see here are some more examples. This one has to do with boxers and whether or not fighting is okay. This one has to do with charter schools. You can see this is one that required more background information. So if you feel like your essay requires more background information, this might be a good one for you to look at for a sample. Both of these documents, as you can see, have the conclusion on them. So I will go through the conclusion notes tomorrow, but just as a heads up, they're the same piece of paper or the same document. All right, so that's our lesson for introduction. Before we get into giving you the time to just start writing your introduction and go into a Google Meet if you'd like, I wanted to just go through one more document with you that I think a lot of you are using correctly, but some of you are not. So I just want to show this to you. So what I'm going to pull up here is the Sunday morning version of the remote learning document. And what you'll see here is because it's Sunday, I have not yet posted Monday's lesson. So if you look through it, you're going to see Friday's lesson. You're going to see Thursday's lesson below it and Wednesday's lesson below that. If you open this document now, Monday morning, you should see Monday's lesson here as well. So you're going to see that this becomes a running document that goes through each day and talks about what you're going to be doing. Why I did it this way is because if you get behind or if you miss a lesson, you can simply scroll down and see what you missed and open the documents that are needed. So I'm just going to quickly run through it. If you are all caught up and you've done everything and your PowerSchool looks good, you can actually stop the video here. If you are not caught up and you are missing some things and you're not sure why you're missing them, then just stay on board with me for a little bit longer while I explain this document. So what you'll see here, so this was Friday. Friday we had a learning target that had to do with independent reading. There was no Screencastify, so you can see none needed. You can see that there were the directions to complete all the tasks. So first, you had to read through this document. Second, you had to listen to First Chapter Friday and fill out this Google form. Third, you needed to look through this document to find books. And then Friday, you had to fill in a page check as well. So you guys can see that. Then I have this section of this document that says what should be completed by when. So there was an assignment that was given on Wednesday, but right down here, I had told you it was due the 20th, so this is a place for you to do that. And then these two things had to be done on that Friday. You will always see a section here where it says Google Meets being offered. I'm going to offer Google Meets, I would say almost daily, that you can join if you like. Sometimes I might say that I would like everyone to meet up at some point, and most days I will say it is optional, but there will be the link there, and then I'll erase it once the meeting is over. And then it shows you some late assignments. So at this point on Friday, your 2 body paragraphs were late, your counterclaim rebuttal would be late. Also, the assignment from Thursday's class would have been late. So you can see here that this is all stuff that was late and is in PowerSchool as well. So then you can scroll down and then you see Thursday's lesson and it's the same setup. So you've got the learning target, the Screencastify, the assignment and directions, what should be completed by when, and then Google Meets, and then late work. And then the same thing for Wednesday. So anyone that's feeling like, oh, I'm not sure what I was supposed to do, or I'm not sure what I'm missing, please open this document and then come into a Google Meet and we can figure out where you are and what you're missing. And I think that would probably be the most helpful way to do that. Okay. But I will keep adding to this document so you can always scroll and see what you are missing and hopefully find any links to anything that might be not completed. So I'm hoping that helps. Please, like I said, any questions, find me today in a Google Meet and we can talk about it. Remember, your assignment for today is to write your introduction and to look at the feedback you've gotten. And if you have not gotten feedback yet, that means that I have not received your request. So make sure your name gets in this document. I think that's it. I am hoping that you have an awesome day and that you had a nice weekend and maybe you have a chance to tell me about it. All right, bye guys.